Hello, hello, hello. Sarah here. Welcome back to another episode of Your Fucking Welcome. I am in the thick of my move. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I think I'm in the home stretch at this point. I just had a second moving crew, long story, help me get situated with a couple extra things. And so I'm getting settled. I'm feeling good here. And I'm just really excited to do all the like silly little things. Like I get really excited about like putting like stupid things like nuts and bolts away. Like, I don't know what it is. I like unpacking, especially when it comes to moving, but not that that's important with sharing that with you in terms of my organizational style. But I wanted to talk a little bit about that today because I wanted to talk to you about space, which sounds like a very boring word. I know, roll with me here. But number one, I've really recognized the way in which I have a really interesting relationship with space. And I've had conversations with a lot of entrepreneurs. Like when I have conversations with many of them kind of have this like eye-opening, like light bulb moment of like, oh, I do that too. And so to go back a little bit, I shared with you that I was on that island retreat. I was home in New Jersey, and then I came back to my place. I had a photo shoot. It was just like a crazy whirlwind couple of weeks. And I caught myself getting back to my place, and I felt like I had to leave. Like, I'm like, I have to leave right now. Like, maybe I'm going to go to Miraval. Maybe I need to get away somewhere else. I wound up going to Joshua Tree for a few days because I felt myself so claustrophobic. I felt like I was suffocating in my old apartment. And like my old apartment wasn't like teeny tiny. I think it was like 950, something like that square feet, like just under 1,000. It wasn't this like teeny tiny studio apartment. And it's just me. Although again, I do, obviously work from home. And so just the equipment and all that kind of stuff. Like there's more stuff there, but like, it's not super cluttered, or I'm certainly not a hoarder. Like it was a really organized space, but I felt again, suffocated by it. And it's this weird thing where I almost kind of kept telling myself that I was wrong. Like, oh, I've got to get rid of stuff. I've got to organize. I've got to do this. And maybe that was true to an extent, but I wasn't giving myself the permission to just see how much I needed to expand, how much like it was actually time to get out of that apartment versus, again, feeling as though there was something I had to do to like, again, tidy up or straighten up, whatever it was. But I'm bringing that up today because in recognizing that about myself, that I was literally like allergic to my surroundings. Like I was rebelling. I was feeling like I was about to explode because of the little amount of space that I had. It's something that, again, I've recognized more and more within myself over the past year or so, but it goes into so many territories. I am somebody who, especially in the past, if there is like a corner of a room, or I don't even know, like a closet, whatever, like I will buy plastic container, a basket, whatever it is. Like I've got to fill the space. I have to fill the space. I don't know what it is because a lot of times it's not intentional, but like the space has to be filled. And then all of a sudden I wind up feeling annoyed and like stressed out and resentful that I don't have any space. And that might sound weird if you don't get it. Whereas I feel like if you do get it, again, based on the conversations that I've had, I know it's going to be like a thing for you where it kind of opens up your mind to like, oh shit, like I really resist having space as well. But I want to take it further in the sense of like how often we all do that in our calendars, how often we all do that in our conversations. God forbid there's just a, time slot in your calendar of space where you didn't have to do anything. So many of us, I find that in resistance to simply being still with ourselves or free, whatever it is, we feel like we have to jam something in that space. Having conversations, awkward silence, we all know could be like the worst thing in the world, right? Like it feels like crap, but also why? Like, why is it such a bad thing to maybe take a moment and think about your answer instead of feeling as though, oh, I've got to rush, I've got to fill in the space, right? I have to answer this. I have to, like, God forbid, again, allow a little bit of silence. And so, again, this goes in so many different directions. But I wanted to bring this up for you today because I know, I've said this many times, but I feel as though when, let's say, for example, my place is messy, like, I mean, I have like cleaning people. I have like an assistant who like straightens up for me here and there. So again, it's definitely not like a thing where it's I don't know, like super messy. I want to say that. But like I've noticed with myself when all of a sudden I have these moments where I don't feel as though, like maybe my place is a little bit messier and I'm not putting away the dishes, or I'm, leaving cabinets open, things like that. I catch myself in every single time that I'm doing that. It's coming from a space of I feel like I have no space. I feel like I have no time. It's largely so often a money mindset thing in the sense of like I'm rushing, got to work, got to do this, got to do that. I don't have the time to clean up after myself, again, even if it's just something small, and catching myself with the why would I ever tell myself that like I don't have the 30 seconds to do this, or why am I feeling as though I'm just in such a rush to get to the next thing, and why am I not allowing myself to have any space, any spaciousness for myself, again, in my day or my time, or then my space, because then it winds up more cluttered, then it winds up overwhelming me more. It puts me on this kind of like frantic spiral. And I notice just over and over again, the fewer things I have, the fewer programs I have, the fewer conversations that are like not meaningful, right? All of those kind of things. The more that I remove anything from my space that doesn't actually serve me, the calmer, the more free I feel, the more at peace I feel. And again, I feel like this could be like a really boring topic if you don't get what I'm saying right now. Whereas I know so many of you feel buried by so many things, right? Like we talked about a couple weeks ago. Like we feel buried by so much of our lives, whether that's again the physical state of your home or your calendar or whatever. Like get rid of the old stuff. Remove things from the calendar that don't actually feel good. Fill in the gaps and like condense your day if you have to. Stop feeling as though you have to have a million programs and a million different things out there, having a million different arms and legs to your business, especially when it doesn't feel good. I know that for so many of us, we allow ourselves to be overwhelmed. We resign ourselves to the chaos. We resign ourselves to the nonsense, right? Like the things going in a million different directions, the static that we feel as though we so often can't control. And you giving yourself space is a conscious and intentional choice that you can make in whatever way you need to. Again, whatever we're talking about here. But I want you to pay attention to, again, your relationship with space. And it just as important, your relationship with the need to fill in the space. Why, again, do you feel as though you can't allow for that silence or take a moment to think about an answer before you start responding? We're so in our own heads. And if we're sitting there picturing ourselves, let's say on a date, and I feel like you can feel that feeling of like your head's going a mile a minute and like you're not really present in your body, but you're just kind of leading with your head. Whereas to me, when you're in your body, you can really like feel the importance of like being still and taking a moment with whatever it is that you're going to respond with. And it's been such an important practice for me in terms of my own business and in terms of my own coaching that I don't have to necessarily lead again with my head going. I can be more intentional about just like taking up space in my own body and being present in my own body and being slower, right? We don't have to, again, be so eager to rush in and fill the space with something. And so, like I said, that's whether it's a conversation, whether it's your calendar, whether it's your home, whatever. But what I want for you, especially if you're somebody who is craving this, what I want for you is, again, to examine that relationship. Like I said, examine the relationship of why you feel so like you need to fill in the space and what that's giving you essentially, because so often I do find that it's such a distraction. It's distracting us from something else, right? We're not going to sit there and be still with ourselves, because then we would think of, the things that maybe we don't want to think of, the sad emotions come up, whatever it is. So what do? We sit there and we fill in the space, we fill in our time scrolling on our phone mindlessly, only to walk away from it feeling more overwhelmed, right? Like more anxious because of all the information that we're taking in, instead of really just being in this expansive place where, again, we're taking up space in our bodies and not allowing something else to kind of swoop in, if you will. And again, the fewer things, right? Like less stuff, better stuff. Like nothing makes me crazier at this point in my life than clutter in every way. I don't want old conversations. And if I'm not talking to somebody anymore on Bumble, I'm not leaving that message on the bottom. Like I don't want clutter. Even like one of the things that I do, which my clients always like I don't know, like always not gasp at, but like it's not revolutionary, but it also kind of is. Even like how many of us have sitting around like so many different notebooks or journals that are like from whenever, and we've got to go through them. We think there's good stuff in them. Literally now when I have notebooks, I will write, like, let's say for example, my to-do list for the day. I'll write my to-do list on that piece of paper, and then I will rip it out, put whatever I need to on the following day, and then throw it out. I don't want clutter in that way. I don't want more notebooks. Even my digital notebooks, if it's like my notes in my notepad on my phone, I literally have a note, like I will start a note per category so that I'm not creating 472 different podcast notes. I just know that it goes under one, because we all know, especially as entrepreneurs, little shit like that makes us crazy. It feels like there's clutter everywhere, and it feels like you left a million different things behind, and then you're making yourself feel bad because, oh God, you had all these ideas and who knows where they are right now. Where's that notebook? It just creates so much unnecessary chaos, and it sounds silly because this doesn't feel like a real problem, while at the same time 500 of those types of things coming your way every single day, it makes us a little nuts, right? Like it makes us a little bit crazy. It feels like there's a lot of static there. And so I'll say it again, I want you to just examine here your relationship with space, your relationship with feeling like you need to fill in the space, and really kind of sit with what clutter, right? What clutter you can eliminate from your life in all ways. Because I find that, like, this is stupid, but like so often the little things that drive us crazy, and not really drive us crazy, but like are annoying parts of our day, they're so easy to fix, right? Like, and what I was gonna say is this is so stupid. Like, as again, I'm moving, I had this in my old closet. I had this, like, I mean, I've been single for a couple of years. I've got my toolbox. I've got my drill. I've got lots of stuff. You'd be very impressed by my mounting and all that skills. I hung up my container store stuff all by myself, but I had this like, I don't know, like a plastic chest, whatever you want to call it, with like nails and screws and, a million different missing parts for like, this came with this dresser or whatever. Gretchen always makes fun of me because, I have a tendency to like rush through instructions, and it like just so happens that every piece of furniture I've ever put together just so happens to come with extra pieces, and I just decide very often that it's good without it. But my point is I have like a bunch of extra things, and every single fucking time I would go in that closet into that drawer because I needed a hammer or whatever it was, I would get like, I was gonna say so pissed off, but it doesn't really ruin my day in that way, but like it would make me anxious. It would make me like, oh God, I don't want to go into this drawer, or I don't know how to find XYZ, and it would annoy me. Like it would put me in kind of like a funky energy, and not like, again, it's not going to take over my day, while at the same time it can just be an irritating thing. When you're like having a busy day, nothing's more irritating than something silly like falling on your toe, right? Like those little things are the things that are going to like send you over the edge. And when I moved here, I was so intentional about packing in terms of like, I literally got a little container from like the container store for like little containers for every different type of like screw. Like, these are the screws, these are the nuts, these are the bolts, these are the nails, here are the wooden dowels. Like, I wanted every single thing to have its own home. And I want like, I want to, again, like for like life to feel simple and clean like that. And I don't want, there's so much in life that like goes like wonky, right? Like, I don't want that to be something that bothers me. And I'm bringing that up because like, it's not fun. Nobody wants to fucking sit there and like organize all of those kinds of things. Like, it's not like an enjoyable Friday night, right? But like, as I was moving here, it was just so funny for me to recognize like this was annoying me for so long. And like, it took maybe a half hour, and like, it feels so much better. And so often, so many things like that, like you sitting there telling me that, let's say, for example, you hate that like your Thursdays are so jam-packed and you dread Thursdays. Like, it's a really simple fix most of the time. Switch some things around, ask a client to move to this day, adjust the time frame, whatever it is. Again, my point is that so many of these things are really simple fixes, but we allow them to eat at us, and we allow ourselves to kind of resign ourselves to it instead of, again, just taking really simple action that could change it to give you more space, right? That allows you, not necessarily, it might make you happier, but not only will it make you happier, but like it's going to make you less unhappy. Right? You're gonna have less moments where you're feeling like you want to like punch something, or you're annoyed or whatever, frustrated, yelling at the kids because of that. And again, it's a simple fix. And so I just want you to, again, so like really pay attention to those things, because it's such a game changer. And God knows I'm no, Marie Kondo over here. But at the same time, like the spaciousness that I feel like I've given myself, like it's sure, like whatever, my apartment's nicer or whatever, like it's going to make my home a nicer place, like from like a design perspective, fine. But like giving myself that over the past year or so, it's made me such a happier person. It's lent itself to so many things in terms of who I am as a business owner, as a person. I'm less likely to snap at people, right? Because of giving myself that space. And so again, like I said, I want you to observe and just kind of dive into your relationship with those things for a moment and see what you can change. That can be especially a simple change, because I really do think it can add up in a really beautiful way for you. So yeah, I'll talk to you next time.